Welcome to the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by co-host Gramps. This week is episode 55. Our guest is Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. How's everybody doing this evening?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Doing good. How about yourself?
Awesome.
How have things been since it was July? End of July is when I saw you. You were at the Hemping in Texas.
I was at
Expo that we threw.
Texas. Yes. Things have been really well. I've been doing different events as my health permits. Because when I do an event like that, it takes me at least a couple of weeks to get through it. The after effects of my body hurting, because of course I'm in pain 24/7, and I've been able to get out the word and communicate to people and let them know that, and the good thing, well, not only to let them know that I'm not the only one. And the cool thing is when you find other people that have relatives that are going through the same path that I am, and have struggled for so many years, just on my own, So things have been going well. I've been, taking it one step at a time, because that's the way it is when you're in pain with arthritis 24/7 and the fibro, and that's not including the PTSD. I'm not a soldier, but I am a survivor. And
Sure.
The cool thing is since the bottom half of my body really doesn't want to work that well with me, I use my hands and my brain, and I started creating grinders for women. Actually, the idea came with going to the corner store. I love Bob Marley. I love him. His products are amazing, but I wanted to see something for me, something that, would show me and my personality. And that was jewelry. That was vintage jewelry. And that's not included. That's not, how do I say it? That's including Swarovski crystals, pearls, turquoise. I've had so much fun with it, and God has given me the hand to be able to do this and share this with women, and really be able to talk to them, and share my feelings as well as hear theirs. This is what I'm going through. I'm not, you're not the only one. There's so many millions of women, I could say billions, that are going through this and don't know what's happening, because there's many times where I'm hurting and I don't know what's going on. But
describe what it exactly is you have, because you put it in your message towards us about about your arthritis.
Well, my arthritis started when I was in third grade, and my little body said, "No, ma'am, come back here." My mother put me in gymnastics. 2.5 months later, I woke up with what I called marbles on my fingers, oranges on my elbows, grapefruits on my knees, and the marbles on my toes. And it was where you see Nadia Comaneci, I was in gymnastics, I was enjoying it. I was at the part where you see her doing the powder, and she's practicing, and she does the powder like this. And I was getting ready to do the barbells. And the next day I woke up. I had done the barbells, as a matter of fact, which was one goal. And I woke up and I had all these knots on my elbows and my knees. And my mother took me, and I was the, how do you say it? Test baby for Ecotrin. I had it in third grade. And after that, it continued to when I was in 10th grade. And after 10th grade, I had to change schools because I couldn't do the stairs anymore. But that was also a blessing too, because the other school I went to was really about fashion, and, just my whole world of creativity started there, I believe. But yeah.
And this is something that manifests different with each person as well. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I got it while I was in the Navy, and it went after my lungs of all things first. And then there's the issues you talk about where it's like your body just doesn't cooperate. Yeah. And it's like I have random days where it's like I feel immensely drained of just life.
Every muscle hurts simultaneously. They call it fibromyalgia pain syndrome, where you have it in different places. But yes, I've been to many emergency rooms. I was on methotrexate and Enbrel from 2015 all the way 2017. And I decided to go to Colorado because my daughter lived there. And I went to Colorado. And my 3 emergency visits there were paid for. I thought was a grant, but it was actually foundations, THC foundations. And I haven't found my letters yet because I've been moving, going place to place. But it's one of those things where you go to the emergency room and you're seen as a person as opposed to a number. I saw the tax dollars in Colorado work when I went to the emergency room the last time before I came home. And that was everything from the hospital being seen within 5 minutes, being here in San Antonio where I waited for 5 hours and my dad took me to another hospital where I was seen in an hour. It's like, but now it's even worse because everything's inundated. But what I want to talk to about also is the tax dollars and what is it done for other states, what it can do for our state, because there's so many people that are hurting. Everybody's going to the outskirts of Texas, there's billions of dollars there that have already been generated, millions really. And it's really sad to say that nobody's listening. They're not listening. And the revenues are astonishing in all these states around us, And my thing is, how do I speak loudly as a person, as a mom, as a grandma, as somebody who, I've been in the public eye, I've been there. And I've been in the corporate world. I've been there. And the cool thing about it is that I've learned from it, and learning from being in pain 24/7. I'm the poster child of pain 24/7. I had a doctor tell me, Miss Mora, you're too pretty. You're too pretty to be in here. I see that there's so much wrong with you. And I said, sir, look at me really good. Okay. Look at me. Okay. Because I may be really pretty, but I'm that poster child for 24/7 pain, and it's not fair. I do see some doctors that are starting to, support CBD in Texas, and a lot of my doctors understand why I went to Colorado to get off these medications because they were toxins in my body. And
so I want to ask you. You obviously have found cannabis as a treatment. So explain to our viewers and our listeners how you found cannabis, what ways you used it, and how it helped you.
When I went to Colorado, I was introduced to a solvent, a THC solvent, because I have hips. I have knots on my hips. And if I do not use that THC solvent, the knots will come back with a vengeance. I've been battling this for a long time, and the THC solvent helps. My doctor asked me, okay, Priscilla, so what is this opposed to pain? The pain pills. Okay, sir, you have me on 13 medications, okay? I'm on 13 medications, and you want to give me the narcotics and the muscle relaxers and all that will take maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes to kick in when, there's some THC gummies around that even the gummies, it's an instant release. It's not like I have to wait for that to release. Another thing with fibromyalgia is that you feel like somebody's pulling a rubber band really, really, really tight, and they won't let go until something pops or you use the solvent, on your neck or your muscles. This has been a blessing for me to be able to get off Enbrel, be able to get off, those
medications are nasty.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it really is. And it ate me up for a while, So, I just see the world as a place that we all have to educate ourselves. I've done so much research, on that was my job. I did research for companies, but my thing is, do not harness the word of, oh, you're just a pothead, because it's not true. My mother said, as long as you graduate and you do something, and okay, if you are doing that, then fine. She said, but you have to do something with yourself, because if not, you're letting yourself down, So,
Sure.
I used to go to schools in Laurel Steel, Burbank High School, and show my paintings, to kids and see the reactions of, oh, you've inspired me to be a teacher, you've inspired me to be a designer, or just everything that comes along with what I did before I got sick, because I did have a stroke in 2012. I had a stroke. I missed my mother, and there was other things there that buried it all down. But I came back. A lot of people don't. This is my year. I'm here. I just want to get the news out that we are sick, and I am going to do what I have to do to fight for our right to be able to medicate ourselves and do what we have to do in order to have our bodies here on this earth, which is one, and be here for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I want to do what my grandmother did for me,
I haven't thought to look into it with Colorado. Does Colorado tax the medical side, the medical purchases that patients make?
Oh, does it tax the medical side? I've really looked on that not just, oh boy.
Because I know here in Texas, we don't tax the medical side. I know California doesn't either.
Yeah,
and that becomes a tricky thing with, we want to collect tax revenue from it. We want to be able to direct it towards things we're lacking in.
Yeah.
But we've watched as states like California have had issues where they put a tax on it and it just drives the black market crazy. And I mean, like, it fuels it.
Well, part of that is the size tax they want to put on it. It should be no different than any other sales tax if they're going to tax it.
Regardless of what tax they put on it, it's going to do wonders for Texas. I mean, I saw what it did for Colorado, for me to go into a general hospital and wait 5 minutes as opposed to 5 hours. And
that's the thing. Their rate is not anywhere near like what Chris was saying. The excise tax like California's put on it, I think theirs is like at 35%. It's insane. Basically, it got to the point where people went, I'm not buying this here. I'm going to go grow it elsewhere or get an illegal grow. They put an illegal grow up. And I reported about 2 weeks ago about how there's a human trafficking issue going on in California where they're bringing immigrants from all the way from New York to run illegal grow operations. And the police were quick to admit, they went, there's not enough licenses. There's not enough licenses because they charge so much. And then they've taxed it so much. We can't grow enough to keep up with the demand. Like you said, the demand is there, but people are going, I'm not paying that for those products.
Yeah, it's the tax rates that are keeping the black market alive.
That's true. And it's really sad because our tax dollars could be working for us instead of against us. And we could be a prosperous green state. And it doesn't have to be, recreational. Give me medical. I did go through the Texas,
our Compassionate Use Program.
Compassion Act. And I was approved. I did a class online. I did the whole video, everything. And then it told me about the doctors. Well, the doctors was going to call me $300 every 2 weeks. That's not including my medication. And I thought, holy smokes.
You need to find a new doctor.
No way. But that was when it started. And so I kind of just stepped back and said, I don't want this. There's no way. So why not take the trip to Colorado? Why not take the trip to the other states where we shouldn't be doing that? The logical sense would be, okay, tax it to where it's logical, to where it's reasonable, do it. But then again, sometimes it's not fair, and it's not fair to us. It's not fair to me or anybody in my condition. I just don't want to die early. I want to live. And as long as I'm here on this earth, I am going to speak about what it is to live with pain and what it is to be a Texan, Latina, Mexicana, like my grandchildren say, what are you?
We are going to go into our first sponsor break here at the Lonestar Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by co-host Gramps. This week is episode 55. Our guest is Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. We'll be right back after our sponsor messages.
sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta 8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I'm joined this week by co-host Gramps. This week is episode 55. Our guest is Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. Man, we were just talking about doctors, and we actually have a bit on our little sponsor message, and I can't make that go away, and I'm not happy about that. For those of you who are listening and not watching the video, I have a title that goes up on the top of our video, and it would not let me deselect it. I'm nothing about not going away with Thrive. I love you guys, Thrive. You guys are awesome. Two thumbs up.
Absolutely.
If you did not know, Priscilla, they are sponsoring. They're a co-sponsor for our marijuana march in about 10 days, 10, 15 days, Chris?
It's like 10. Well, no, it's under 14. So about 13 days now. October
8th. They're one of the co-sponsors for that march. And then they offer, we affiliated with them because they're sponsoring with us. Anybody can actually affiliate with them to do appointments. And it's a 15% off appointment code. So there's the veterans get their first one for free. And then anybody who winds up finding a code, such as like the one we have on our Texas Vetco site.
Right.
And we've done what you were talking about. We've come up with like a list of steps to help people get prepared for an appointment. That way they can get their medical records together, especially veterans, because a lot of them don't realize that they can get their information directly from the VA online easily.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But no $300 appointments.
No.
More like under $100 an appointment.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yes, it makes a difference. I mean, when you have somebody that'll work with you or a company, that'll work with you, as opposed to, okay, this is what it is. And so it's confusing sometimes, but at the same time, it's all about education, and letting yourself, oh boy, just I'm releasing myself out there, to tell people that you're not alone. We're not alone, and we shouldn't be. And I find that we're not. As many people that I speak to at these different, little events that I do, First Fridays and stuff like that, it's really, really amazing to have people come up to you and just say, Priscilla, thank you. Thank you for, letting your voice out. Thank you for letting people know, or, just telling my story, because it's just one of those things that I had to do.
I understand totally.
Yes.
And saying everybody's got so I don't want to say just a different story, but there's a different perspective. And something you were alluding to earlier is that when you find people who have a family member that's dealing with a similar issue and they're looking for an answer and they've finally gotten to that point, I don't want to call it desperation, but that's really what it is, where they're like, I don't know what corner to turn to go get an answer and help myself.
Yes.
And sadly, in our state, it's becoming one of those things of that's the only thing left that seems to change minds on this topic.
Yeah.
Is that like it's not until it happens to them, and it's like,
yes, that's exactly what I was saying. Unless it happens to you, or unless you're in pain for a toothache, or imagine that toothache lasting for years.
Yeah.
Or but it's because my pain is stabbing, shooting. It's just it's affecting my toes now because I have sciatica down both my legs. I have performance syndrome. I have the tendonitis and bursitis on both my hips. Yes, it's a struggle for me every day. But the nature that my grandmother gave us, or that our family gave us, is always a happy nature. I could be crying on the inside, but I'm smiling on the outside. But in a sense, it's one of those things that you have to speak up. I feel that I have to, because I can't keep quiet anymore. I see more and more young people suffering too. It's not, it shouldn't be like this. And how can we make that to where it's a positive thing for everyone involved?
Yeah.
How do I take it to Mr. Abbott?
and that's something that I battled with for years before I even got into this, was the how do you make this a positive for all? And there are certain situations where there's going to be somebody who loses out. And we have to accept at times of like, I don't want to call it a casualty. They're not a casualty, but they are almost like collateral damage to the answer. There's somebody who's going to fall through the cracks. And the reality with this, for once, is that there isn't anybody who loses out when we move this forward, because there's just those who don't need it and they're not hurt by it because they don't need it. And there's those who need it and can get it, and they're not hurting anybody else by doing this and using it for their medicine.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's like I was explaining it to somebody the other day. This is not like alcohol, where I continue to drink, and it's going to make me to where I cannot focus, function, whatever. With me, with the gummies, I'm sorry, but I am a creative person, and it enhances my creativity. But it doesn't make any sense that, any of this should be the way that it is. And I think that with the awareness that this is a medication, yes, of course, some people like to, that's fine and dandy. But my thing was to educate the elderly people, or, that they think it's just, hey, but it's not. It's one of those things where, you go to Colorado and you're sitting in the car waiting for your line and turn, your turn in line. And you see this little old man get out of his car, and he gets out really slowly, and he goes to the wife and he lets her out, and they're walking to the dispensary, and he says, come on, honey, we're going to go get our medicine. And it's like, oh, I'm next in line. But, it's those kind of things where it's like, let me do what I need to do for my body. Let me have others help me, because so far I'm in the dark. I'm in the dark. I don't want to. It's just one of those things where people need to open their eyes. Open your eyes, Texas. We're coming,
It's like you say, if nothing else, let's talk about the medical side of it.
Yes.
Number one, their number one argument is, well, we can't because, then everybody's going to do it. Well, excuse me. Number one, first and foremost, anybody and everybody who wants to, no matter their age, race, ethnic group, religion, upbringing, etc. If they want to, they're gonna, or they already are, period. Or they already have, and they've decided it wasn't the thing for them, and they've moved on. So move away from that. Why? Because of that fear of something you're not stopping anyway. That's my number 2 point. Why? Because of that fear you're not stopping anyway. Do we have to keep it from those who need it and could benefit from it. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I want to throw something in there. That is not a fear. I've been hearing that lately. They say, we fear this is going to happen. They don't really fear. It's not a fear.
No, it's not a fear.
Fear puts you in fight or flight mode. They're not doing either one of those.
It's one of those things where, what do I have to do to change your mind? What do I have to tell you? What do we have
Give
to
me the money. Give me the money.
Who do I have to speak to? What do I have to do? It's one of those things where I'm not walking into this blindly. I'm walking into this with open eyes and open arms because, I'll take anybody else who, needs the comfort, in order to move to the progression where we need to move. And that's for it to be on the ballot. I mean, I've seen all the percentages of how many Texans want it, how many don't. It's like, okay, put it to the test. Let's do it. But of course, I know that takes a lot of red paperwork, but we can turn that green.
In Texas, that takes about 6 years.
And we don't do ballot initiative here in our state.
I know.
Unfortunately.
They would have to pass it through a supermajority, through both houses, both the House and the Senate. Governor sign it, then it goes to a ballot. We vote on it. Then they get to decide how it's written and what we get and what we don't get.
I'm sorry. It's like baking. It's like baking. I mean,
they say you got to do the cooking by the books, but our legislature wants you to cook the books and give them the money.
Well, you can't have the whole pie and a piece of the other one too,
Well, I think you can.
I can. They say you can't have your cake and eat it too. I buy 2 cakes.
Is that
right? Every time.
Make sure you save me a piece. It's all about education. It's all about opening your mind to something that's always been there, and you've labeled it differently. Well, guess what? Label it something else. Label it medical, because it's a medical necessity in my point of view. And
unpopular opinion about with what you're saying there is that a doctor was telling me recently that if you're in the medical program and the judges or whoever, you go to court and they're like, well, and this is a true fear, that we fear you're going to be using this just to get high, intoxicated, and go out driving around. And in the medical program, as the doctor was talking about, if you're getting high, you're not using it right. We need to move back your dose for that specific thing that's causing that for you. And then from there, the reality is if you keep going past what you're supposed to be going past, you're actually abusing it. And people are like, you can't abuse this. And it's like, if you don't use it the way you're supposed to use it to help yourself and your health, and you take it beyond that to a point where you're just, that's abuse. It shouldn't be a reason to get rid of it, but it's one of those things of, it's very nuanced in how we talk about this, because it's not the traditional medicine that like you buy at Walgreens.
No, but CBD you do.
Mine doesn't. I wish they would.
Well, my doctor's office sells it. My surgeon, my spine clinic sells it. They give you samples of the gummies and the CBD because they know that it's coming. And my general doctor said, Priscilla, you have to do whatever you have to do for your pain. And if there's all these lotions that I'm giving you that are not working, then you do what's best for you. You are the patient. You're the one that's sick. You're the one that's feeling this every day. Yeah. And yes, it might come with a little, hey, but guess what? I'm medicating myself the way that I think I need to with already the medications that I take. It's too much, adding in some Norcos or some Somas and all that. I'm sorry. I can't do that. You're
not the person I would say that employers, when they talk about, we fear this, we don't like this. And you're not the person who's about to go work a forklift. I can understand them going, hey, we're concerned about somebody who gets in that state of mind and is going to go operate heavy machinery. I'm pretty sure Chris understands this very well, given he works in construction.
Yes, some bozos.
Because they don't let you have the other stuff either. It's not like you can go in there and be like, oh, I was popping Vicodin before work and you're in my pain. No, you can't do that either.
Well, no, you can't show that you've taken it. I've seen people fall asleep and I know that they've just come from physical therapy and they're in a lot of pain. But what do? As long as they're productive and they do their work, I can't judge,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not here to judge each other. We're here to lift each other up. Because if you stomp on a bug, but I'm sorry, if you do that enough, it's going to go down.
We are going to go into our sponsor break here at the Lonestar Collective podcast. It is that time. During the show, I'm your host, Jesse Williams. I am joined by co-host Gramps this week. This week is episode 55. Our guest is Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. We'll be right back after our sponsor messages, where we'll have more discussion about our medical program and getting people active in Texas.
Is a sponsor of Texas Cannabis Collective and the Lonestar Collective podcast. Oak Cliff focuses on quality assurance with their hemp products while providing customer service to help you discover cannabinoids to meet your needs. Their product line includes hemp flower, pre-rolls, CBG tinctures, edibles, Delta 8, and merch. For more information on their products' quality or to shop online today, visit oakcliffcultivators.com or contact them at info@oakcliffcultivators.com.
Thrive Apothecary offers an experience truly unique from anything else in Texas. A full-service cannabis solution that is doctor-owned and offers customers every level of cannabis legally available in Texas. From traditional CBD products to emerging hemp-derived THC edibles, smokables, and now medical cannabis. As a licensed medical cannabis provider, prospective patients from anywhere in Texas can book a sponsored online eligibility consultation to determine if they qualify for a medical marijuana prescription from the comfort of their own home. Plus, for Texas veterans, the first prescription appointment is donated by Thrive. Visit thrivetx.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast, the official podcast of Texas Cannabis Collective. Distributed on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Facebook, and much more, to give Texans information regarding policy, industry, and culture. Here is this week's host, Jesse Williams and Gramps.
Welcome back to the Lonestar Collective podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This week I'm joined by co-host Gramps. This week is episode 55. Our guest is Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. How is everybody doing?
Doing good.
We're doing fine. I'm sorry I ended up with my last word being a bug.
A bug, aka a roach. A roach is a bug, and I'd always welcome in a show about cannabis.
I always say that if you step on one long enough, it's not going to go anywhere. My thing is, I just stay out of the way. But there's a lot going on, with this March coming up. I was really excited. I wanted to participate, but of course I can't. I'd have to be in a wheelchair, and it's too much. It's too much. But of course, I pray for everybody that's going to be out there. I think it's going to be a wonderful event, and I wish everyone the best. I think that they need to hear us loudly. And if you can speak for me, great. Speak, Priscilla.
We'll manifest you at the event, I promise.
Yes. I think it's going to be really neat, and I'm excited. It's
yeah.
awesome.
One of the things I wanted to touch back a little bit. One of the things you touched on right before the break was what your doctor said to you, that you need to do what's best for you. If it means you've got to do this and you've got to do this much of it, blah, blah, blah. That is the kind of thing that we've got to get the lawmakers to understand. We need to relieve the restrictions. It needs to be decisions based on how you're going to administer it, how you're going to, what type of product you're going to get.
Yes.
That needs to be decided upon by patients and doctors, not lawmakers.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things, I think, one of the biggest hurdles we have facing us right now, and one of the biggest changes that we can bring about.
And we've got doctors in our legislature that are all for it. And they this is a little bit interesting about, I see they're all for it. Even the ones that have this last session were like, because my senator, at least my former senator, I'm not going to be in her district anymore, Donna Campbell. In 2019, my letter to her was not about, I'm a patient, I need this, my son is autistic, he needs that. It was, you are a doctor, and I believe that you, and the position you're at, and the party you're with, and the politics you preach, that you would be the type of person who would not want the government telling her as a doctor how to treat her patients. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, she had a bill that was like, this needs to be a doctor-patient relationship. Mm-hmm. And that quickly went away when she got ready to go to the floor with it. And everybody had a word, including Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. And it became obvious, like my comment at the time was they told her after she did that, they're like, yep, you fall on the sword for this one. We don't tolerate that. And then I got word through the grapevine. That's pretty much what happened, because she had shown support and had that attitude that she had preached about with a doctor-patient relationship in her field. They went, nuh-uh, we not approved on the floor. Out in town, yeah. Campaigning, sure. Not in reality in our legislative session.
Yeah.
Well, people are still surprised when I tell them my surgeon has gummies. My surgeon has, CBD gummies, has CBD lotions. And they're like, what? I'm like, yes, because they're giving me what it is that they feel that I need. And you know what? They're pretty good. They're not bad. They're pretty good. And they do help. But at the same time, it's like, you guys wake up, because wake up.
I'd be willing to bet in this day and age, with the hemp-derived Delta-9 market expanding and blowing up like it is, that it would not be too hard to find a doctor's office in Texas that has Delta-9 hemp-derived gummies on the shelf.
Yes.
Mine had full spectrum hemp oil, Victory Medical, until a parole officer contacted them and was like, how dare you be allowing a doctor to prescribe an over-the-counter substance that has THC in it to people on parole? You are fueling the drug addiction crisis in this country.
Oh, geez.
And you're not helping us clean the streets. And man, they had this is the best classic reply they could ever give, was he told this parole officer over the phone, you want to clean the streets? Come on down to Victory Boulevard in Austin, Texas, and get the homeless camp that's near my office out of here. Because when my patients leave, they have fruits and vegetables thrown at them. They have drinks thrown at them. The street's a mess. It's actually dirty. You want to clean the streets? Come on down here and take a look before you talk to me about cleaning the streets. And then the overall owner of the facility said, you know what, get rid of most of those products on the shelf that have THC in them, because we're not taking that risk anymore with this state.
And that's sad, because they're trying to help people, and at the same time, it's kind of like you're being judged. And which is a thing. Yeah, I've seen a lot of my peers like step away from me, or don't answer me. And it's like, it's okay. You're not living my life. You don't predict what it is that I have to do for me. You just have to aware yourself and know that this is a medication. And if you don't accept it, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do for you. I can educate you and let you know that, hey, it helps me. It could help you. I know you're in pain. It could help you, but if you don't accept it, I don't know. I can't lead you you can't lead a horse to water unless there's something else special on the other side that you really want.
Well, I'll say that a little differently. You can lead a horse to water all day long, but you can't make him drink.
Well, you can. If there's something, you can. If there's something on the other side that he wants. Yeah,
True.
That's what I was trying
horse
to
drugs. You can lead a horse to water, and it'll drink it if there's horse drugs in it. That's a known fact.
So tell us, Priscilla, tell us a little bit more about your grinder line and where people can find your products. That's something I've been interested to hear about.
Well, these are pretty cool. And like I said, I use vintage jewelry. I use vintage brooches, sequins. This was a broken necklace. And I think I've perfected my peaks pretty good. These, I normally go to events, and I'll show it on the website of events of where we're going to be at. Because like I said, my health really isn't too good, but we're looking at putting them on Instagram this week. And I've gotten some really good reviews from people because simply they can put it on their dresser and say, look at my pretty little trinket. It looks like a trinket. That's what it looks like, a trinket box. But it's something that a lot of people will say, oh, I like this one because it has umbrellas, oh, I like this one because it's got a bear on it, or I use old jewelry, like stuff that we use for arts and crafts. Mm-hmm. And there's this, like, you don't use this for necklaces anymore. So I put them into the grinders, and this is something that has been really a passion for me. They're coming together on their own, and people will say, well, how long does it take you to do them? 45 minutes to do 4. So the prep time is the kicker. But yes, I also do necklaces, as I have for the parent, I have to have for the child. And because they start looking at, no, I have to have something for the child, which I use a lot of the vintage brooches and jewelry and just things that the kids would like, so that way they have something else to look at. And of course, I make keychains, and this is something I do to get out, because I don't get out much. And this is something where I can release my expression and, see people and talk to people. Because like I said, I used to be out and talk to people. I used to be on Great Day SA. I've done, many talk shows and things like that. But I have not been in this, how do I say it? I don't want to say limelight, in this light for a while, because I've been battling for a while, and my thing is to give something to a woman that's really precious, for Christmas or, for their birthday, and say, here, we know you're in pain. And, it came, the CBD grinder, I labeled that on Square, and they said, you're selling CBD, and I said, no, it's a grinder made for it. So you get caught in the logistics of that.
Yeah.
Well, we need what you're putting, how much percentage you're putting of the CBD, and it's like, it doesn't work that way for me. So yeah, I pretty much use the website of Vivid Chica, my Instagram of Vivid Chica at Vivid Chica, and TikTok and LinkedIn, and let people know what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm looking to fight to do. Bring it on, Come on, Texas, jump aboard, show people.
Amen.
In this coming up.
Can you put that grinder back up? I want to see. I'm going to give it full screen. I want to see how big that thing is.
Oh, let's see. This is one right here, and it's got some vintage pieces in it. This one right here, it's got a brooch that was broken, and I took it. I need to move this way. And some of them are heavy, some are light. The scale on these is 4.5.
I like that because I'm 6'5". If you don't remember when we were at the Hemping in Texas Expo, I'm a big guy. I got monster hands. It's gonna be great to have something I'd be like, at. And then for all you ladies out there who you're like, my hands aren't big. Well, you can put it in your purse or a sock and you beat intruders with it as they come after you. The thing looks like it's got some weight on it.
The ones with turquoise, those are heavy. I'm like, oh, be careful with this one. But that it derived from the CBD, and it'll grind your parsley just as well as it'll grind your pepper. So it's a really cool, different way of doing it. Instead of just being a plain resin, it's kind of got a 3D effect, with all these. They're all different. This one has a little knob on it. All different. And I utilize
I like how that one looks. That is me for some reason.
I call this the party one, and it's really light. There's some that are like extremely heavy. This one, of course, has Texas. See the state of Texas in there. Of course, Texas in there. And this is what I do. I started something else, which I started my own loteria, and this one is a toki, el toki. It's just something that I wanted to do for myself, and I don't know. A lot of it derived from just doing things. I took these lottery cards and I made keychains. This one's, of course, el sapo. So this is just something. Sapo. This is just something that I do to clear the space in my head, to just declutter, and really keeps
you busy and keeps your mind active.
Yeah, you got it. You got to.
Well, plug your website one more time as we're going to wrap up this episode. Priscilla, give everybody your information again.
It's vividchica.com. Also at vividchica via Instagram. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. Have a great day. Thank you for having me, and God bless.
We thank you for joining us.
So thank you for joining us on the show. It was really great having very fun time having you here.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. You ever need me, I'm here.
All righty. That is going to do it for episode 55. I'm your host, Jesse Williams. This week, I'm joined by co-host Gramps. This week is episode 55. Our guest was Priscilla Mora of Vivid Chica. You can find more information at vividchica.com. That's going to do it for this week. Make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. And if you're on Spotify or Apple, you can probably subscribe over there too. They give you a nice little notification every time one of our episodes comes out. That way you know what's going on, whether it's a Thursday or a Monday, whenever we do an episode. So we hope everybody has a great week. We hope to see you at the Marijuana March and Freedom Festival, October 8th. And everybody have a wonderful week.